you have to see through all this. You've got to witness this and tape record it. Now! Your mother's behaviour's out of order. You've got to understand that. Wake up yourself. Not just fold your bloody fucking arms. That's not good enough. That's what Wink was doing an hour ago. You take this attitude towards me and you'll bring the fucking government here. The same as your mother's behaviour will do. You've got to wake up yourself. You're living in danger for so long as your mother behaves like this towards me. I won't ask you whether you understand it. I don't expect you to understand it. How the fucking hell would you? You've had no experience with people, with humans. You better wake up yourself before it's too late. I'm just warning you. I'm not the mischief maker. Your mother's out of order. And so are you. If you treat me like shit. And the same with Wink. And the same with Freya. Your mother's alienated all of you against me. And I'm trying to protect you against the real villain. Which is just fellow fucking human beings. You've got to wake up yourself. And you're not doing that. You're sleeping your life away. It's the same as your mother is now. She's not telling me what's wrong with what her pain is. That's not good enough. You've got to witness her behaviour. I do not deserve this behaviour from her. I'm not going to ask you whether you understand this. I don't expect you to understand this. You've got to witness it. And just tape recording me is not witnessing your mother's behaviour. It is just witnessing my anxiety and concern. You're escaping from the situation. You're not doing a duty. You're not doing a human duty as a son of your mother or your father. But you're not doing a duty to yourself. I'm not warning you about any trouble from me. I'm warning you about the trouble from the cause of trouble today, which is people's fucking so-called democratic government. It's government by the lowest common denominator. Do you know what that means, Oscar? You're not responding lovingly at all. You're responding hatefully. You're showing contempt for me, not respect. I deserve more respect from you than I'm getting. Not because to satisfy my ego, but because I've had families, and I've studied families, and because I care about families, and because I believe in families. But I know the harm that families can do. And you can ask me any fucking tricky question you like, and I would be only too happy to give you an answer in love. I'm not acting hatefully towards you. There are you, with your fucking arms folded, as though you're defending yourself against me. You're on your way to deep trouble if you maintain your antagonism or your fear of me. I am not to be feared. That's not who I am at all. I've had so much fucking experience with fucking family. I was thinking of that bloody fucking arsehole Uncle France this morning. An arrogant shit of a man. College boy. Or at least you were saved from that. At least you were saved from most of the fucking education department. Which is bloody bag of bloody fucking mischief. The stories I've heard about the education department, the research I've done. Very interesting. fucking so-called education. And this is the result of your mother's contempt for me. It is not deserved. And if you believe that it is, you're heading for deep shit. Dare I ask you for any intelligent, caring questions? Responsible questions? What responsibility do you feel for any of this? What degree of involvement do you feel in emotional or otherwise, apart from just an exhibition of defensiveness? How horrifying against me. What was that, may I ask? Which you put in your ear? Not even a decent answer to a decent, loving, caring question. I love you as my family, and you can't even recognise it. That is shocking and tragic, and attributable to your mother's psychopathy, which is growing as I perceive it. Have you not perceived it? I wouldn't fucking expect you to. You're not fucking here to see how she behaves with us, or where's your sense of responsibility, your sense of love, natural love? No, none of that. None of that at all. You're on the way to nowhere, except just as your mother's chauffeur. That's not a life, Oscar. I would have wanted a life for you, with your intelligence and capacity for caring. And here you are, with your intelligence, regarding me as a fucking enemy to defend yourself now. That is a shocking state of affairs, and I regard it as a form of deep sickness. And it is I'm getting increasingly worried about your mother. And I think Wink is also. You are not here to see the worsening of your mother's attitude and health, and her mental health. And I'm deeply concerned about it. So I'm glad you've got that on the fucking record. Even if you don't understand it or accept what I'm saying, because you're not here to witness the situation. And that's what I need you for, a witness to your mother's behaviour. And my behaviour of anger is due to my extreme distress.
It's due to lack of control.
Oh, I'm not out of control.
Your anger is due to lack of self-control.
That's your opinion, little boy.
It's the truth.
The truth.
It always will be.
Pardon?
It always will be.
Your attitude is blinded, Oscar.
That's
It's
convenient.
happening. What?
That's convenient for you to say.
Convenient. You're going to twist and misinterpret anything that I say.
Well, you've already done that with everything I've said and done anyway.
What?
You've already done that with everything I've ever said also, despite it being the truth.
I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're saying. I've already done that with what you've said. I have a hearing problem, Oscar. I've heard 90 years of fucking lying, fucking bullshit. Oh, God damn it, I've got the hearing aid in. I should just hear the bullshit louder. I can see an increasingly angry attitude arising from you children towards me. It is completely baseless and out of order. And it's getting very worrying because I'm worried about your mother's mental health. And you are not here to see all of it and to witness all of it. What was that you commented about me? I didn't understand what you said. Do you want me to understand? Do you want me to hear what you've said?
You attempted to give some justification for your anger, which was aside from self-control.
Aside from self-control?
Yeah. You tried to give some justification for your anger. And I'm saying it's nothing but a lack of self-control.
Lack of self-control?
Yes. That is what anger is, a lack of self-control. There is no question.
Well, that's not the case. But my anger is due to my extreme distress. And
it's due to a lack of meditation and a lack of self-control.
Meditation?
Yes. I'm not out of control, Oscar. Just because you think I'm out of control. Your opinion is not necessarily right. It's just the self-justification of a person who is isolated from his fellow human beings. I mean, that is a position of weakness. And my anger is due to my distress because I love all of you, whether you believe it or not. And it is defensive anger, and I've tried to defend you and your mother and all of your children all along. And your mother has been the rat bag in the judgment of her parents, and that's the reason why they've paid tens, now hundreds of thousands of dollars just to keep them, just to keep your mother with me. Bill Rudd was quite satisfied to do that. He learned that he could trust me to stay by the side of his mother. Many normal men, whom I regard as defective, normal is what humans have got to try to get away from. Normal was the problem all along. I'm a student of meditation. I'm completely under control, but I do get angry because I'm so upset at the domination of your mother and her opinion and her judgment, which is corrupting you children. I don't expect you to understand how that works, but how the fuck would you know? Because you have no human relations, except with very limited, twisted human relations with your siblings, your brother, your sister, your father and your mother. And it's all been twisted and made sick. And the sicker your mother gets, the sicker those relationships have gotten, as I've noticed. My attitude all along has been to protect your mother and you children, and I have done that. And I tried to do it with my earlier family. But no, the mass judgment, which is going to shit, going to hell, was the cause of the destruction. I couldn't maintain the degree of corruption necessary. I've worked all my life to be part of the human solution to the human problem. I don't expect you to understand that, but your attitude is completely mistaken. I don't expect you to realise that or see it suddenly at all. And I'm glad that you're recording all this. Well, actually, you're not recording all this. You're just recording me trying to explain myself and or defend myself against your attack arguments.
I'm not attacking you at all.
You are saying that I am in error by showing anger.
Yes, you are. That's not an attack.
You've had no experience of life at all. You haven't.
The answers are found within. There's nothing out there.
There's nothing out there.
The answers are found within. All of them.
Yes, you're right.
That's right.
That sounds so wonderful and theosophical by a person who's had no experience of human relations.
I have. I've had enough.
You've had.
That's right. I've seen enough.
You've seen nothing, Oscar.
Yes, I have. I've seen enough.
Well, that is tragic. That makes me feel very sad because you've seen fucking nothing, boy. Sleeping away. It
makes you feel sad because you are sad.
I'm sad at the human condition because I love my family. I always have loved my family.
You must have been sad at your own condition.
I must have been sad at my own condition?
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had more answers than they have. There are actually people out there who've actually attributed some kind of knowledge that they didn't have to me. And you've got not much of a glimmer of any appreciation of it.
Yes, I do. I say the same thing about you for me as myself. But
I don't know what that means.
I've learnt lots from you, through observation and study.
Well, I suggest you've seen bugger all nothing.
Uh-huh.
And you're not getting any human relationship experience just with your distressed father, your distressed mother, and now your distressed siblings. Wink is becoming increasingly more defensive and concerned. I think more because of your mother's increasingly worsening behaviour and attitude towards me. Her attitude has...
Yes. It is worsening towards you.
Sorry, what?
Yes, it is worsening towards you.
Yes.
That's it. I don't see it worsening towards anyone else. Not to Wink, not to me.
Because I'm her scapegoat. That's what human nature does. Her attitude has no justification in worsening towards me, because I'm still standing by her and by you children. I'm concerned because your distress.
I'm not distressed.
I suggest that you wake up to yourself.
Uh-huh.
You are extremely distressed, but you're not. You're all becoming mental cases, including Wing.
Well, there is a level of being distressed.
What?
There is a level of being distressed when someone smashes on their door as they're trying to sleep. That's the only level of distress that I'm in. And that's the only level of distress I'm experiencing as a result of. And also being screamed at.
Also what?
And also being screamed at and called names a few times.
Called names?
Yes, distressing.
Oh, poor boy. Distressing.
Sticks and stones.
I've been fucking.
It's mainly the screaming and it's mainly the smashing.
Smashing of what?
The door. It's an act of violence.
That is stupid. You don't know what violence means. Your interpretation of violence.
I said it's an act of violence. It is.
That's not violence. Violence is hurting somebody or something.
It's an act of violence to yourself.
I'm expressing my extreme distress. That is not my definition of violence. I am a non-violent person. Ahimsa.
You want to be a non-violent person.
Ahimsa Satyagraha was Gandhi's policy. I'm sure he got angry sometimes. I'm sure he expressed anger. I am an emotional person. I have deep emotions. You have suppressed yours.
No, I haven't. I've let go of it.
You've let go. Oh well, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
You're fooling yourself.
No.
I'm not going to. There's no argument. There's no discussion.
There never was.
You're.
That's the nature of autism. Everything's one-sided. There is no discussion.
So, who are you calling autistic?
All of us.
All of who? By name?
Immediate family.
Immediate family?
Yes.
Your brother? Your sister?
Yeah.
Your mother?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Maybe you don't.
An autistic person.
That's right.
An autistic person.
An autistic person. Yeah, go on.
What?
Yes, go on.
Can't relate to others.
Uh-huh.
I'm relating.
No, you're trying to relate to others without any success throughout most of your life, if not all of your life.
You don't know what I've done. You don't know what I've achieved.
Uh-huh. The example of an autistic person you used to give is that one person would do harm to another person, so they do harm to the next person.
I'm sorry, I'm not following you. I'm trying to follow you logically. What you're saying.
You used to give an example about some autistic person or some autistic kids and how one of the kids was upset by the other kid, so he attacks another kid or something. I can't remember the example exactly, but
I'm not sure what your point is.
uh-huh. My point is, Mum upsets you, so you come and upset me. That's autism. It's an autistic act.
Well, I'm an extremely sociable person.
You want to be. You want to see yourself as an extremely sociable person because you've always desperately wanted to be that.
I've been bullied all my life because I have socialised all my life.
That's right. That's what happens with autistic people.
I organised primarily the Adelaide School of Yoga, and I managed that. I was manager of that for 20 years, and I gave it up for your mother's sake. 20 years. I had the working support of others involved. One person cannot organise a yoga school with different teachers, hundreds, thousands eventually of students alone. You don't do that. With others, again, I organised another pioneering organisation, and just coincidentally, because of normal fucking human egoism, I upset a whole lot of guilty fucking moneybags joining up, linking up on the eastern suburbs with all of the communists from the western suburbs. I organised the Environment Information Centre and ran that for nearly 10 years again, until I started looking after your mother, until she invited me to live at her house. The name's Adelaide School of Yoga is in the Adelaide phone book for 20 years, starting from 1959, and the name Environment Information Centre, which I registered with the government, ran for about 9 years at 240 Rundle Street. And I've worked with many thousands of people and related to them successfully.
So has Jim Woolcock.
Including the Premier of South Australia. Oh, Jim Woolcock.
Yes, he's done the same thing, if not, he's done at least the same thing, being a doctor and everything. He is still an autistic.
I don't think he was strictly autistic.
He said he was. He said he is.
well, that's... well, he's ear, nose and throat specialist, the same as his father was. Ross Woolcock, my mother's, darling mother's brother. He was good to me when I went over to Sydney in whenever it was, 1949, no, 1948. You've got it all screwed up, Oscar. So I don't see any point in that disturbing you any further. But you're not witnessing your mother's behaviour getting worse.
Yes, I am.
Well,
I'm witnessing her behaviour getting worse towards you.
No. Yes, but that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about your mother's failing mental health, and it is of deep concern. And I'm an emotional person. There's nothing wrong with healthy anger. I have harmed nobody. I've disturbed your sleep. Well, you don't know how fucking privileged.
Yes, I do. That's why I'm peaceful. Because I'm grateful.
Oh, dear. Well, gratitude may not be enough for your own sake.
Yes, it will be.
Gratitude might be. It's not just something to exhibit politically. in human relationships, egotistical terms. Anyway, these arguments are very complicated. I'm only too happy to engage in them with you, but if only you were in a more receptive
I
state
am.
of mind.
I'm in the most receptive frame of mind you've ever found me in. You just don't want to. You don't want to see it that way.
I want to see the truth, nothing else but the truth. And your attitude is becoming increasingly jaundiced and prejudiced against me. You have had no experience of the most brutal human relations, which I have gone all the way through. I don't know whether I told you about my experience at St Margaret's, where they wanted to try to give me electroshock treatment, and so they locked me up. I was only, I don't know, 16 and a half or 17. So I basically no rights in their terms of their fucking laws. They locked me up because I refused this treatment, and then I broke the bed up because they had no right to lock me up. I think my parents should have sued them. As it was, I think my parents may have had to pay damages, but I think they had no fucking right to lock me up like that just because I refused their bloody fucking electroshock treatment. So I had to defend myself, but that was not violence, that was self-defense against ignorant people. And in relation to me, you are an ignorant person.
And so are you.
And so's your brother, and your sister, and your mother, all your mother's work. It distresses me, it angers me, and it's healthy anger. But it is not violence. Violence is when you physically hurt somebody.
Yep.
I am not physically violent.
You have been.
You can say that of anybody. You have not witnessed me bash anybody up physically. I don't do that.
I have been bashed up by you.
You're wrong.
You are wrong.
You are imagining it.
You are imagining it. You are blocking out the fact that you've done it. You've done it and you've blocked it out. You're trying to tell me I'm imagining something. You're trying to tell me I'm imagining the truth. That is deceit. Deception.
Getting all twisted, Oscar.
No, you are all twisted. You've been twisted for a long time.
When was I ever violent towards you that you're imagining?
You're physically violent. No, and you were physically violent towards me about 13 years ago. Probably for the last time.
You're mistaken.
You're mistaken.
Oh,
The truth will stand.
That's just playing games.
No, it's not.
And
It's just speaking the truth. I hold no hatred towards you, and I completely forgive you. But this is just what happened, and it's the truth. The only issue now is that you're denying it, or that it didn't happen when it did. That's the only issue.
I have no knowledge or memory of it, and I'm concerned that your mother is going increasingly more bonkers, and she's turning all of you children against me.
I've not turned against you, and I'm not turning against you. She might be turning herself against you, and you might be turning yourself against other people without knowing it. But that's as far as that goes.
I think I better let you. You're not doing much good this way. You're not looking after your mother by witnessing her worsening attitude which is getting out of control. And once it gets out of control, we're all basically turned upside down here, because it's all bringing the fucking government. The government just love arresting people for imaginary causes. I see no further point in discussion with you. You're not doing your duties as son, you're just turning against me and the rest of your family. So your mother's getting worse, so are you, and Wink's getting more anxious. But at least he's trying to make a life for himself and you're not. You're just shutting yourself away.
I already have a life.
I just heard a jumble of words.
I already have a life. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm finding peace.
It's a false peace, Oscar, and I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. And I don't see any further point in any further discussion, but I'm glad that you're recording the discussion, and I want you to keep those records. Do you have anything further to contribute?
In a way, we don't just Marilyn.
Do I take that long pause as a no?
Negotiate the situation.
Can I expect an answer from you?
And I've got thick as ass. I mean, my parents should have fined them as it was. Put shit on me. To get it performed a little part. Yes. Tape it well. The long and short of it. But she wasn't wrong. And offer something to the conversation. Bloody fucking energy, really. Push me all the way. The same as the other spastic. Psychopath. Well, what's not that word?
Recording it on your phone?
Word.
No.
Whose voices are they?
That's yours.
Are you transferring tape recordings to your phone?
Yes.
Goodness gracious me. Well, I'm glad you're making the recordings.
I wish I had recorded a lot more from the past, but...
Well, so do I.
Yeah.
What a world. It's only going to get worse. I don't think I can discuss anything sensibly with you further at the moment, Oscar.
Well, then you won't be able to discuss anything sensibly with me at all, ever, in that case.
What is that supposed to mean? And why is that the case, Oscar?
Because I am in my true form.
Because you are in your what?
True form.
True form.
Yeah.
Good God. I think you just gone into your little cave and you're right and the rest of the world's wrong and you're okay.
Well, you went into the world, and
What?
you the same applies to you, except you went into the world, and that's the only
I
difference.
what?
The same applies to you, except you attempted to go into the world, and that's the only difference. So I stayed here in the cave, and you went out in the world. And what was the result?
I learned I learned about human nature at first hand.
Yes, and so did I, and so have I. I've already learnt about that.
Oh dear,
And I continue to learn about it, right here.
that's that's what you think. I mean, you've just been too isolated for too long, Oscar.
Maybe I just learn extremely fast, and I didn't need nearly as much experience to learn the things I needed to learn.
Well, that's a tunnel vision view, if ever there was, Oscar.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just increasingly more distressed and worried about you.
Well, you will be anyway, because you need something to be distressed about, apparently.
Oh no, I fucking don't. I'm worried about your mother. I'm worried about your children.
That's right.
And I seem to be up against, well, human ego is in every time. You can't get away from it. I can't get away from
That's right.
it. Nobody gets away from human ego. I've been wrestling with my ego all of my life for the last 90 years.
Well, maybe that was the problem.
That is everybody's problem, to wrestle with your ego.
Yep.
That's the human problem, Oscar.
I think it's an even bigger problem to wrestle with your true self.
Well, I don't know who you think your true self is.
The true self is that which does not change.
True self is that which does not change. No, the truth, that is the highest self.
What's the difference between the highest self and the true self? I don't think there is any. There's no separation.
Golly gosh. On a daily basis, I refresh my reference to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, who has, for me, all of the answers to how to find your way in life. The nature of the human problem, book 1, is fivefold. In the nature, in the order that he places it, there are 5 aspects of the problem. The first that he has is ignorance, translating as accurately as possible from the Sanskrit, avidya. I would like to put the next one that he puts as number 2 as number 1, but that's just egotistical me. For one thing, you cannot escape the ego at any stage of the game. The nature of the human problem, therefore, avidya, ignorance. Avidya is the privative, is non. Vidya is knowledge, wisdom. The next one is asmita, egoism. I put that first because I'm dealing with human relations 24/7. That's my duty as a father. And our human relations as a so-called family are deteriorating, with your mother's increasingly deteriorating distress. Asmita. Ignorance, egoism, desire, aversion, attachment is the list of 5 in reference to Sanskrit, book 1, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. There will be, for every presentation of the sutras, there's everybody's particular interpretation. The author, the reference, the scholar. Now that's book 1. Now book 2 is the solution. That's the interesting bit. These terms are in my prayers every day when I'm alone. So the solution to the human problem is interpreted many different ways according to the individual, of course.
I'd just say Brahmacharya is the solution to the human problem. Simple as that.
What's the word?
Brahmacharya.
How do you spell it?
Brahma, as in Brahman. BRHMACHARYA.
Oh, Brahmacharya.
Yeah.
And Brahma is the supreme god, and Acharya is a scholar. So scholarly recognition of the supreme god. Brahmacharya, well, I wouldn't argue against that. That's just another presentation of the same thing. But it has to be explained further. I'm referencing book 2, and I haven't picked up my books for a long time. Been busy working on these daily problems that are getting worse, our problems here, with our own relationships deteriorating, getting worse, as your mother's health gets worse, and Wink is just getting more upset and angry, and well, so am I, because of your mother's increasingly antagonistic attitude, and if we're not careful, then it could bring the government here, and if it brings the government here, basically we're all out of here really, including you. And you're a little private, privileged, supremely privileged, and love-protected little cave.
Well, I'll have it for as long as I deserve it.
Well, in karmic terms, yes.
Yep. And I think my karma's a lot better than yours.
You think what?
My karma must be a lot better than yours, or Mum's, or
Your
Wink's.
what?
My karma must be a lot better than yours.
Karma.
You,
Oh, I wouldn't say so. Because I went out and from my cave and I sought the experience. You didn't.
I've already had experience.
You've had none, Oscar.
Maybe you've had none neither.
Oh, I had bloody plenty. I was privileged to achieve my ambition of 12 days in the Adelaide jail. And the last day that I was there, the jail governor, who was a decent family man, called in to my cell and criticised the way I made my bed and put my pyjamas there, just as a theatrical performance. He came in, he recognised me, good morning, and he just put on a display, a show of sternness. He was a nice, decent man. I'd signed him up for life insurance about five, or it must have been 6 years earlier when I was selling insurance. So I achieved my ambition of 12 days, peaceful days. And really, they were very soft and gentle. First day I went in, there was a screw there. He said, "You look a bit worried, mate. Don't worry about it. It's just like a Boy Scout camp for a few days."
Hmm. I went to a place worse than prison for 5 weeks, a foster home. Worse than prison.
Because your mother was an autistic, doing things her own way, and she brought that demon into this house, and it has scarred us, all of us, forever. That's the way that your mother does things, because she's an autistic, and that's the way she still does things. And as an autistic, she's incurable. I have not deserted her in more than 40 years. Her parents paid me and her tens of thousands of dollars. They paid me. They took over my mortgage of $15,000. Peanuts to Bill and Kitty. $15,000 I had on this place. And because she put me up there for 10 years, actually it was, I gave her this place when it came to transferring from the protecting situation which I'd put it under after I dumped Laura, so she couldn't claim on me anymore. I've done all of these stunts to try to defend my integrity and rights. I played it my way and got the experience. You are getting none of this experience.
Yes, I am.
Well, you wouldn't know. I mean, I'm not
You
going
wouldn't.
to say you contradict you. Just you contradicting me. You wouldn't know that you're not in a position. All I'm saying
Maybe.
is that if there's continued antagonism and your attitude, including your attitude towards me and your mother's attitude, if it gets worse, it could get terminally worse, where it calls in the bloody health inspector.
Hmm.
I've got photographs. If they were to see, this is what I have to look at every day on a daily basis, they would take some kind of legal action against it on health grounds. That's what I'm worried about, and I'm trying to protect your mother's attitude infected upon you children, making life impossible here. Bill rescued us, but because of the situation, I did my absolute best in the circumstances. But your mother has never understood what I was trying to do, and you don't seem to have much of an inkling either, or wink, or at least of all prayer. She just got the fucking hell out of it, and just got herself a boyfriend who apparently is a health liability as well as a moral liability. He's pretty ignorant. He's a disciple of John Seneca, the former Chief Secretary of the CFMEU. There's so much going on. It's just too much to discuss. But I'm only too happy to discuss the situation. The increasingly dangerous situation due to your mother's increasing anger and opposition. Anger doesn't do anyone any harm. If you get anger, it's just because you're human. You've got an ego. If you don't have an ego, you're not human.
Anger doesn't do you any good if it's especially if it's out of control.
My anger is under control.
Right now it is. I agree.
I don't know what your interruptions are.
Right now it is. I agree, but it hasn't always been. It's been out of control on numerous occasions.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
It has not hurt anybody physically. It's a mental, well, it all depends how sensitive you are.
That's right. It hurt me physically, but not mentally. It strengthened me.
I'm not sure what your point is. I have not been physically violent against you or your mother or any of the children. I'm not a violent person. Ahimsa.
She says you have been against her, and I know for a fact that you have been against me.
Well,
and if you ask Wink, he will also agree that you've been violent against him, physically.
Who?
Wink.
That is nonsense.
Uh-huh. Well,
you just believe these things because of your mother's toxic propaganda.
No, I believe these things because they're true, and I adhere to the truth within myself. I always have and I always will. That's why I'm going to continue to rise. And you can't see the truth, which is why you're going down.
I'm not sure what your point is.
My point is that's the entire problem. That's the entire... That's where it all went wrong.
I'm not sure what you're saying. What? Go on.
There needs to be adherence to the truth within the self. And if there is none, you'll descend into darkness.
Well, that's all right in principle, but I think that you're mistaken in your interpretations of who I am and what I've done. And,
No, I'm not.
Well, I don't think that you're in a position to judge because you've got no standards.
Well, you're not in a position to tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know what you said.
Well, you're not in a position to tell me I'm wrong or to tell me that what I'm saying, the truth that I'm saying is not true.
I've observed you, as far as I'm concerned, on a daily basis, or as often as I could. I observed all of my children on a daily basis, as much as I can, aside from having to do other things. And I tried to love and care for all of you.
Yes, I know you've tried to. I agree.
But the thing, but this psychopathic opposition was established in your mother. She was bullied at school,
And so were you.
and
So,
so
yep.
so was I.
That's
yes.
right.
But as far as I'm concerned, I've strengthened myself on that basis. I saw one of my bullies in the funeral notices just a few months back, Michael Doherty, an Irish boy who lived in the slums, and he went to Cheller Gardens Primary School. There were 2 or 3 bullies there. As far as I'm concerned, I've strengthened myself against them. They were not physically bullied, they were psychologically bullies. The same as your mother's turned out to be now. I refer to her as the last of my bullies,
Yep.
because she was mentally twisted and disordered. But I've loved her for the last 40 years. I've never abandoned her. I've never abandoned your children. And you're getting it all twisted up. And,
No, I'm not.
And your attitude is endangering
No, it's not.
your own existence here.
No, it's not.
In the same way as your mother brought that evil woman into this house. She didn't warn me, she didn't consult me, she didn't ask me. I arrived, I'd been to the city that day, and I arrived about 4:30. She'd already sniffed around in my room and licked, had a taste of my toilet paper, licked it possibly, because she saw some brown stains on it. It was my blood from my bleeding legs. She was an absolutely evil woman, and your mother brought her here without consulting me. I was not, and at the instigation of Marilyn, your mother's sister, an absolutely evil person again. Your mother was Marilyn would have liked to have wiped your mother out of existence, and I really don't want her here again if it comes to the point. But I don't want to antagonise anybody either. She was here a couple of years back. I don't really want her back, and I won't be inviting her back. I mean, she's only just mischief, but she wanted to see your mother dead, so she could get more money for the family fortune, I suppose. Anyway, I don't think this discussion seems to be getting anywhere. It doesn't seem to be educating you or saving you much. It's just like ego versus ego, and that's getting nowhere.
Uh-huh.
And it gives me more to be concerned about. So I might as well go and do something useful in my terms that I understand. So I'm just getting increasingly worried about your children and your mother primarily. But you're suffering the most.
No, I'm not.
You're her number one victim, but you don't know it.
You say that other people trying to gaslight you, but that sounds like you're trying to gaslight me.
What?
You say that lots of other people try and gaslight you, but that just sounds like you're trying to gaslight me as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, well, there you go. See, you can't even accept in good faith any of my own observations.
Yeah, well, you can't accept in good faith the truth that I'm telling you.
You see it as the truth.
No, it is the truth.
I'm not contradicting. It is your truth, but it is not what I see, Oscar. And
Well, then, if it's not what you see, then you're blind.
That's your opinion.
Yes, it is.
And I'm not going to argue with you. But I'm increasingly worried about you and your mother and Wink. And I might as well move off because I think I'm getting nowhere with you. And I don't see any answer or solution for you. And
I see the answer for myself, even if you don't.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you're not losing hope. Because hope was the last thing left in Pandora's box. Did you know that?
No, I have hope because I have the truth.
Well, the truth cannot be expressed in words.
Yeah, and the truth can't be broken.
I don't know what you said.
Yes, and the truth can't be broken.
Okay, I accept that statement. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana is the solution. Tapas is you've got to have the strength. Primarily, when I say strength, I mean moral strength. Moral strength includes physical and mental strength.
Hmm.
This is the beginning of book 2, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Tapas, you've got to have the strength, physically, mentally and spiritually. Tapas, Swajaya, self-analysis, swa, self, suus, Latin, Swadhyaya, Dhyaya, mental, spiritual attention. You've got to have attention, capacity, strength, mentally. And the ultimate, of course, Ishvara Pranidhana, dedicating everything that you do, are, and think to the Creator. That's the answer to all human problems.
Which is also the self.
The self with a capital S cannot be compared really to the human self, which is asmita, egoism. The confusion is natural for a human to make. The self is beyond mental comprehension. The ultimate answer, resignation, total resignation to your Creator. Tapas, you've got to have strength of body, mind and spirit. Swa, excuse my Sanskrit pronunciation. Total self-analysis to the nth degree. Ishvara Pranidhana is the third point. Ishvara, the supreme creator, which is not yourself, is not the supreme creator. Everything that you are, do, think that you are, everything that you think must be dedicated to Ishvara. And Patanjali seems to be the only source. His book was a compilation of the knowledge that he had. That's the ultimate solution to those 3 points. You've got to have, but you've got to have enough strength to be able to do all that. Tapas. That's the first thing. You've got to have enough strength. Swa, Dehiyaya, Swa. I think it's cognate with the Latin suus, self. Self-control, self-knowledge, self-humility, self-strength, supreme strength, to be able to surrender yourself totally, not provisionally, but totally to your Creator. You didn't make yourself. That's book 2. I'd better let you get your much needed rest, Oscar. That is what I meditate on every night when I go to bed. The answer to all human problems. Book 2. Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Any more chat that you'd like? I asked you a question. I'm trying to keep the situation under control. Your mother's getting out of control. You're showing signs of it, and so swing.
Sounds like projection.
What?
You're saying that I'm showing signs of getting out of control. I'm not. That sounds like projection.
Projection. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to make your observations, but your attitude has been corrupted by your mother's condition, which is getting worse, and I'm worried about it. Extremely worried. Because I haven't made a will yet, but I've got to do that. I don't really need to. If I'm taken out of the picture, your mother automatically gets this place. You children don't. I'm automatically out of the list for across the road as a beneficiary. I don't count. I'm not there anymore as a beneficiary. It doesn't matter. I've worked all my life basically for human enlightenment, starting with myself. I started the first yoga school in Adelaide, which was pretty quickly taken up by all the money makers and egomaniacal exhibitionists, normal humans. They virtually ran me out of business, by which time I'd met your mother, so I gave it up anyway and decided to look after your mother in her house. At her invitation, at the instigation of her mother's. It took me a long fucking time to wake up that it was her mother that was saying to her, "Why don't you ask him to help you live in the place, in the house I've just brought you?" Oh, so she did. I thought she was a sweetie pie. Well, essentially at heart she is. She's gone bonkers. You're going bonkers with her.
You think I'm going bonkers because that's the way you decide to see me.
Pardon.
That's the way you decide to perceive me, is going bonkers. But I'm not.
I don't want to see that at all, Oscar.
No, I didn't say you wanted to, but that's just the
You're
way.
interrupting. I don't know what you're saying.
That's the way you decide to perceive me as going bonkers. Like you decide to perceive me as my attitude deteriorating when it's not. It's getting better. My attitude is improving.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that you think your attitude is improving. I suggest...
Yes, and I'm slightly annoyed to hear you constantly tell me that my attitude is deteriorating when it's not.
Because it's becoming more self-righteous.
No, it's not.
On no grounds, no sound ground.
It's becoming more...
Political grounds. Politically, we are getting more into danger of even being able to live here because of your mother getting out of control and alienating your children against me. I have worked for the security of this house, and your all of you loved ones now, including Wink. He's not admitting it, any of it, but I see him there with folded hands like that. He's on the defensive.
Yep, that's right, because he doesn't like the feeling of being, as he feels it, being talked down to.
Oh. By whom?
Well, he feels like he's being talked down to by you. That's what he feels like.
Well, he is totally mistaken because he's been alienated against me by your toxic mother.
Wink has not been alienated against you by Mum, and neither have I.
And it is my perception that you have, if I may be entitled to my egotistical opinion, which is apparently all that you're capable of recognising, which just puts me on the outer more and more, and makes me more and more worried about our security here. Because at some stage, your mother is likely to get out of control, and just by being her, because she is out of control, in the same way that she invited that evil woman who was the cause of you children being taken away, because of your mother's typical antics and in not communicating to me properly what she is doing, which has been the problem all along, because she's autistic. But I committed myself to her, and I have never abandoned her in all this time. Is there anything more that you wish to discuss?
Not really. I'm just going to stand by the truth. And I will continue to stand by the truth.
If you talk like that, you're stumbling over your fucking words.
No, I'm not. Your mind,
When I say you're stumbling over your fucking words, I mean that I can't fucking hear clearly what you're fucking saying.
Well, then if you're saying that I'm stumbling over my words, maybe the truth is that your mind is stumbling over my words.
I'm telling you the fucking truth, and either you accept what I'm saying or you fucking don't. I've got a hearing problem. I've had 90 fucking years of fucking bullshit. Egotistical fucking bullshit. Just like yours is now. And I've worked all my fucking life to be part of the fucking solution to the fucking problem.
That worked out great.
I just heard you mumble something. I've got my fucking hearing aid in. I've got a hearing problem because people stumble their fucking words. Just speak in a measured fashion and I will hear what you're saying. I don't know what you said in your last statement. And I can't do any better. If you're interested. Is there anything you want me to hear? because I want to hear every fucking goddamn word you are saying. I'm getting increasingly worried about you, your mother, and Wink. Freya, it seems, is all right. She'll just, but she's got to get rid of that fucking liability, or she's going to have children that are I heard the other day that he's got a list of a whole lot of genetic problems. So, well, that's her life. Well, I mean, they didn't mind kicking you out of there when you were there, trying to take refuge there. Well, I mean, the place is owned by basically by 5 of us, so it's a stumbling block. I mean, it makes me feel like bringing the matter to a crisis, because, and forcing the sale of it, which I could do by divorcing your mother, which would then require a High Court judgment on the distribution of who owns this property. So we could, if that gets out of control, we're out of here and across the road at the same time. So if I can't talk with you, all of you lot, us lot, me, are going to be out on our asses for both places. Contemplate that. I've done that before. I too surrendered everything, lost everything effectively. Laura didn't initiate the sale of the house, 39 Hill Avenue. We were there for 10 years. I did. I felt buggered. I couldn't pay the mortgage anymore. I didn't have any income. So I just surrendered the whole go to buggery. The only friend I had, but even my girlfriend at the time, deserted me. Been there, done that. The whole fucking lot. So I salvaged what I could in this dear old Chevy, lend lease, 1939 Chevrolet, the last Chevrolet that America built before World War II started. 1939. It was a beautiful car, Chevy, utility. Oh boy, did she go on the road. Down at I left it down at Strathalbyn. I probably got a couple of $100. The new owners had sold it to when I gave that up. So I've been through the ringer several times, but my brother-in-law, Robin Scott, my darling mummy was before, she was gone, my mother was gone, in respect of love. And she was worried about how I was going to survive, and Bronte, my sister's husband, after she had passed away, reassured my mother. He said, "Don't worry about Ian Glenn, he's a survivor." Robin, former bank manager, wasn't wrong. He had to be a judge of humans as to whether the bloke that he was giving a mortgage to, $20,000, was ever going to pay it back. So he was a pretty good judge of me, because he wasn't wrong. I've still got to thank Robin here. Oh, by the way, Robin, I wanted to thank you for your mother, not to worry about me, but I was a survivor. You were spot on there. A survivor with my own integrity, wholeness intact, not justification. Anything else you want to talk about? You know little enough, so one just know a bit, but it's a matter of what you can believe at this stage of the game from your view in the cave. There's from the Greek stories, the the story about the philosopher in the cave. I must look it up on the internet. It was a moral story about how images are distorted from within the cave.
Mm.
I can recommend it to you
Mm-hmm.
for your study, Oscar,
Mm-hmm.
for your long continued need for study and, well, actually, not just study, but real life practice.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? The story of the cave, I forget the detail of it, but just how shadows can get distorted.
Yeah.
And I think being in a cave somehow or another. So there's a historical reference to it for our own education today, 2,500 years later.
Mm.
These ancient lessons, the ancient wisdom, which I joined the Theosophical Society for. Thought of joining again a couple of years back. Oh, bloody stupid, self-righteous, idiotic a-holes. Didn't want to waste the $50. The president sent me a letter declaring, congratulations on rejoining the Theosophical Society. I hadn't even paid my $50 to anybody. What a joke, I hadn't gone bad. They're just off the planet. So at this stage of the game, it doesn't matter what I say to you, you're just so full up with grief and concern for your mother. It's just going to get worse at this rate, and your mother's going to get worse, and I can't stop another bloody fucking crisis cooking up. I mean, one of the reasons we're so fortunate with the bloody council is because the local council is too busy fighting amongst itself. Well, that is an absolutely perfect, wonderful, strategic position for what I might describe myself as a social campaigner for what they have. Because they're so fucking busy fighting amongst themselves to worry about us.
Mm.
But if a health inspector were to call round to our front fucking door, we'd get a condemnation immediately. I think I'm just going to have to myself. I can't even depend upon Wink or you to put paving stones down there. That front lobby being covered in chooky poo, and the front swamp there would be just enough to send a local health inspector up a wattle. She went away from here laughing last time she was here. I made some passing reference. Anyway, she was a lesbian, of course, and you're on your way to being a gay, if anything at all, I think.
Sounds like some repressed projection, maybe.
I thought you were going to say that.
Well, it makes sense.
me, 2 wives, 7 children. I think not, sir. It's just a nice idea. No one ever understood me, even my darling mummy. Least of all you, my children. Well, least of all, not well, anybody really. But least of all to those that I live with. Just becoming more antagonistic towards me.
No one understood you probably because you're autistic. No one's ever understood me because I'm autistic. That's the nature of being an autistic. People don't understand an autistic. An autistic doesn't feel understood.
How could I be a fucking autistic, having worked with hundreds and thousands of people, having had organised meetings, stood out the front? That there's no way that any expert would classify me as an autistic.
It sounds like you're offended at the idea of being an autistic.
I'm not offended. Nobody offends me at all. They might upset me because I think there are screw-loose in their perception of me. No one has ever known me. Even my own mother. No one has understood me. I'm too complex for them.
It sounds like you reject the idea of being an autistic. It sounds like, and what's so wrong with being autistic? Why is it a problem to be autistic?
An autistic cannot relate to others. I've related to hundreds of thousands of people.
You've tried to.
I've related. The fact that they haven't ever understood me adequately is not necessarily any fault of mine.
No, it's not. And neither is being autistic a fault of yours, but it's just it's just what it is.
Being autistic is
It's a character trait.
it can be, but it can also be a psychopathic genetic condition, obviously. Jenny's autistic. You're not technically autistic.
Yes, I am.
A psychiatrist would not classify you as autistic.
Yes, they will. And they have.
And they have?
Yes.
What's his name? Her name?
Sarath Atanyaki.
Oh, God.
And another psychiatrist.
Hang on. That wasn't that Indian bloke.
Yes, it was.
Oh, shit.
And there was also another one. Can't remember her name.
Bloody
2 psychiatrists.
So the official
Yes.
classification was always autistic.
Yep.
Do you know what your mother would have had to pay him?
Several $100s, but it was mostly covered by health insurance.
God almighty. I made an appointment. Well, no, I didn't. I tentatively tried to negotiate an appointment with him, and they tried to entrap me. And I told them so, that I was not confirming or making any appointment, and if they said that I had, then I was going to report them for entrapment.
Mm.
I didn't like the way they trap people. Oh well, I think. I mean, he's supposed to be the expert, but I disagree that you're autistic. I mean, it's a good cover.
There's nothing wrong with being autistic.
I'm not saying there is.
I'm pretty sure you were.
What?
I'm pretty sure you were saying there was something wrong with being autistic.
And self-opinionated sir who doesn't know anybody, who doesn't.
Well, it's all
tell
recorded
anybody.
anyway, so you don't need to take my word for it.
You're, I don't know where we are in the contradictions or who's contradicting you for saying what. I've lost track. I don't think that they're correct in classifying you as autistic. I mean, it's a good goddamn cover because autistics generally don't really ever change that much. There's an autistic group
Good.
in the meetup group. I've been along to it several times. It's very interesting, but I wasn't able to relate to it or get anywhere with it.
Hmm.
So is there anything else that you need to say to me at the moment, Oscar?
There's nothing I needed to say to you to begin with.
Well, why did you speak? I'm glad that you
You're the one who came in here.
What?
You're the one who came in here.
Because I was worried about my family and the deteriorating human relationships,
Uh-huh.
which are not diminishing, they are magnifying. They are getting worse. The confusion and the resentment and the anger is getting worse.
Not on my part.
Well, the anger is getting worse on my part.
Mm-hmm. Well, why is that? That requires...
What?
Well, that might require some analysis too.
Analysis? Yeah,
Yep.
well, by all means. It's because of my natural and healthy and righteous love for my family and valid and healthy love in an increasingly sick world. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss, Oscar, at the moment?
Anger is the manifestation of a overflowing shadow.
Whatever that means.
It's a result of lack of self-control and a lack of ability of letting go of pain.
There is such a thing as healthy anger.
Yeah, I agree, but...
Due to love. The love that I have
Yep.
for my family.
And there is such a thing as excessive anger.
Excessive anger, well, when excessive anger extends to violence, the definition of violence needs to be clarified for our discussion. Anger is not the same. It is not directly equivalent to violence. Anger is deep emotional concern and or resentment.
Yeah, but violence is a result of anger, so let's clarify that.
Violence is a result of anger.
Yeah.
But anger need not necessarily result in violence.
That's right.
I become angry because of your mother's college girl, self-entitled, over-entitlement. She is getting worse, and she is making your children worse.
That's what you
And
think.
that is what I see, that is what I think, and I'm entitled to what I think.
Yes, you are. You're also entitled to be wrong.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Big deal. So fucking what? That's not the point.
Well, it is the point when you're wrong in terms of the truth.
The truth. You're talking about the absolute truth, and it cannot be conceived.
Doesn't need to be. It just needs to stay there.
The truth is God. God is truth. God is the self-existence.
Hmm.
The self-existence. God is truth. Truth is God.
Hmm.
Is there anything else you wish to discuss, Oscar? That's a good title.
Hmm.
Sex Lessons from History. Fern Riddell, female. Oh, did I buy that? I think I may have bought that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope you read it. I hope we read it.
Yeah.
Things are just getting worse, Oscar, and I'm getting more worried.
Uh-huh.
More upset. And more angry.
I think things are getting better.
Now, I'm not going to disagree with you, because these are the most paradoxical times of all. Things are getting both better and worse at the same time. They are extremely, totally paradoxical times.
Hmm.
I'm not giving up. I am getting sick because of the stress of it.
Mm-hmm.
And your mother's getting sick because she's getting more nuts mentally, as she is going to do, and we're in danger because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're more in danger than I am, because it doesn't matter if I don't have a will, although I've got to do one pretty soon, just so that I can say, well, I've made mine, so therefore you should make yours. I mean, it doesn't matter if I don't make one, but I should, just for political purposes. In terms of our own political relationships,
Mm-hmm.
it has become very much ego-based, I'm sorry to say.
I don't see it that way.
I wouldn't expect that you did, from your position in the cave, where you see so little and understand so little. I don't see that I'm achieving much with you, Oscar.
I see that I'm achieving something.
Well, I'm so glad that you do, Oscar.
Mm-hmm. So am I.
I'll let you go back to sleep and back to your cave while I'll try to get fucking something done for the fucking day.
Uh-huh.
Another fucking goddamn day of confusion, getting worse. And I don't know how to save the situation. I don't know that I can. As your mother deteriorates and as you deteriorate,
Not deteriorating.
more into ignorance and lack of experience. You're not getting experience, Oscar. I'm not going to argue with you.
Well, I'm not arguing with you either. Right. This is an earplug I put in my ear in case he'd scream at me, which he sometimes does. Anyway, so I feel proud of myself. I think I'm learning to embrace the truth, to not resist can't think what I was going to say anyway. Anyway, it's just important to point out, I suppose, it's just every turn he's just projecting, and it's kind of sad, but he is certainly an example of what not to become. And yes, I'm scarred by him, but then at the same time, I think I still think I'm ascending to the right place, and I really think that he's he's just been going down for a long time. It's kind of sad, but I'll never blame him for anything, because he's pretty much just a victim just like everyone else, and it's sad because I really do speak the truth. I'm a custodian, an ambassador for the truth, and I represent the truth, and I always have, and I always will, but um, now I just need to cultivate that peace and that gratitude, and just be happy, because that's all that's important. And all the rest is shit, really. I think it's just, to love, of course, to love and be happy, and find meaning, find purpose, and that's it.